Hi guys, this is Erin with our next installment of Wild Side Wednesdays, and today I will be talking to you guys about Hawaiian monk seals. So, Hawaiian monk seals are part of a group of animals called pinnipeds, which means fin-footed, and this group of animals includes seals, sea lions, fur seals, and walruses. Now, Hawaiian monk seals are endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, meaning they exist nowhere else in the world. However, there are other species of monk seal, such as the Mediterranean monk seal that lives in the Mediterranean Sea, and the Caribbean monk seal, which has gone extinct. Our two remaining monk seal species are considered to be some of the most endangered seal species in the entire world, with Mediterranean monk seals numbering less than 700 individuals and our Hawaiian monk seals numbering around 1,400 individuals. And fortunately for the Hawaiian monk seals, there has been about a 3% increase each year of the population since 2014, and this is largely due to a lot of really hard work by organizations like NOAA and HMAR, or the Hawaiian Marine Animal Response Team, right here on Oahu. So monk seals got their name from the more solitary behavior that they display, as opposed to some other seal species or sea lions that do form larger social aggregations and rookeries. This does not mean that you will never see monk seals interacting with each other or laying close to each other on the shoreline, but they do not form those really large colonies like other pinniped species do. So that's how they got their name. And they also have these folds around their neck that looks like a monk's cowl. The Hawaiian name for monk seals is Ilio-holo-i-ka-uaua, and this means the dog running in rough water. And our Hawaiian monk seals can be anywhere from 6 to 7 feet long, anywhere from 300 up to 600 pounds, and have an average lifespan of up to 25 or 30 years. So I could talk about monk seals all day, but we do have some really awesome questions from viewers like you, so we're going to dive right into those. Our first couple questions comes from Addie from Alabama, and what Addie wants to know is, what do they eat? And this is actually a really important question to address because, as I mentioned earlier, their population is slowly increasing, and it is slowly increasing here in the main Hawaiian Islands. So there is some worry that these seals will start to compete with fishermen and fisheries around the islands. So there have been some studies done to see what they're foraging on, where they're foraging, things like that. And what we found so far is that they're what we call generalist feeders. They don't target any one specific type of prey, and they forage over a really large area of seafloor. Now, while these animals can dive up to 1,600 feet and hold their breath for up to 20 minutes, they're typically going to be foraging around depths anywhere from 60 feet to 200 feet. And like I said, they're feeding on a very wide variety of prey, anywhere from octopus, maybe lobsters, triggerfish, eels, a whole bunch of different stuff. And we have also found that they only eat about 4 to 8% of their body weight per day, and with some rough calculations, that came out to only about a pound of fish per square mile. Another question from Addie is, do they lay eggs or do they have live young? And these animals are mammals like we are, so they do give live birth, they nurse their young, they're warm-blooded, and they have fur. So our next couple of questions comes from Taylor from Texas, and what Taylor wants to know is, where are they the most populated? And so actually most of the Hawaiian monk seals do live up in those uninhabited northwestern Hawaiian Islands. Like I said earlier, there's the population is about 1,400 total, with majority of those animals living in those uninhabited islands, probably around 1,100 of them up there, and then we have around 300 individuals here in the main Hawaiian Islands. Taylor also wants to know, how long do they sleep? And again, really good question, because these animals do haul out, or they come onto shore to rest for periods of time, and sometimes people think these guys when they're on the beach, they might be sick or injured and need help, but they are actually just sleeping. So please give them their space. They're just trying to get some rest. I know I wouldn't like it if I was laying on the beach sleeping and somebody tried to push me back into the water. So we don't want to do that to them either. But as far as how long they might be sleeping for, it could be anywhere from 2 hours to 2 days. It really just depends on how much energy that seal is using and what is going on in its life. They do go through a catastrophic molt every year, so this means they shed the outer layer of their fur and skin, and this is a very energetically costly process. So during their catastrophic molt, it is not odd to see them on the beach for weeks on end. So Taylor also wants to know what are the main threats of Hawaiian monk seals, and the monk seals in the main Hawaiian Islands and the seals up in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands do kind of face a different sets of threats. Down here in the main island, some issues that we're seeing are diseases like Toxoplasmosis, which comes from cat excretions, human-seal interactions, and entanglement in marine debris. Up in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands, there's also an issue with entanglement in marine debris, shark predation, lack of food availability, and there's also a skewed ratio of males to females. There's about 2 males for every female, so that does really increase competition. The last thing that Taylor wants to know is why are monk seals so cute, and that is a really good question that I do not have an answer for, but absolutely agree with you on. So Casey from Florida wants to know, are they anywhere else besides the Hawaiian Islands? And we kind of touched on this earlier. There are other species of monk seals, such as the Mediterranean and the unfortunately now extinct Caribbean monk seals, but our Hawaiian monk seals are just here in Hawaii, endemic to these islands. But also a little bit more about their movements around the islands. We again have kind of talked about that northwestern population and the main Hawaiian island population, and they probably stay within those bounds, but that does not mean that they don't go offshore and that they don't move islands. Just because a seal was born right here on Oahu does not mean it's always going to be here on Oahu. We've definitely seen individuals hopping from island to island, even within just a few days of each other. So Casey also wants to know how long is a pup with its mom, and pups will stay with their mom for about 6 weeks, and they are nursing during the 6 weeks. After that 6 weeks is up, mom will kind of go her separate way, and the pup will stay in that birthing area. They stay pretty much in the same area where the pup was born for that 6-week nursing period, and at that point that pup will learn how to catch prey on its own and survive as a monk seal. So our last couple of questions are from Connor over on the Big Island, still having to do with pups. How long is their gestation or pregnancy? It's about 11 months long, so similar to those humpback whales that we've talked about before. And how big are pups when they're born? They are about 1 to 2 feet long. They are born with a black lanugo. It's kind of like their puppy coat, and after a couple of weeks they will shed that and they will get that really sleek silvery gray coat of an adult Hawaiian monk seal. So we hope we have answered most of your questions about Hawaiian monk seals. If you're feeling a little inspired to help these animals in some way, there's lots of things you can do whether you're here in the islands or not. If you are here in the islands, the best thing you can do for these animals is to give them space. If you see them on the beach, on the rocks, or even in the water, definitely just give them their space. Especially if you do see them on the beach or on the rocks, like we kind of talked about earlier, they're just sleeping, they're resting. These animals do spend about 1/3 of their life on land for resting, for having their babies, and for that catastrophic molt that we talked about earlier as well. Another really great thing you can do if you're here in the islands and you see a seal is to call the Monk Seal Hotline. They will send somebody out to assess the situation. They might be able to identify that individual, and they will collect a lot of data that will go towards conservation measures for these animals in the future. And probably one of the best things you can do all around the world is just pick up your trash. Hawaiian monk seals do have the highest documented rate of entanglement of any pinniped species, so if you're out there, if you're on the beach and you trip over some line, or you're on a boat and you see an abandoned fishing net, then pick that stuff up and it might help save seal. Thank you all for joining us for this installment of Wild Side Wednesdays. We hope you are all staying safe out there and that we can see you on the water soon. And make sure to join us next week.